am so super excited for this video. I have a very special guest who is in fact my long lost boyfriend. Hello!
Hello, good morning from Germany.
You know, we talk every day, but we haven't seen each other in person in a very long time. And I actually calculated the exact amount of days that we've been apart. Do you want to hear?
Don't tell me. I don't want I don't want to know.
574 days total.
Oh, crazy.
1
Crazy.
year,
That's
6 months,
almost
25 days.
We're approaching 2 years, huh?
Here's the question. If we would have known that we would be 2 years apart, do you think you would have stayed together with me?
Well, to be honest, it's good that I didn't know. Like for me, this way was way better. Like not knowing how long this is going to keep us apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I would have stick to you, of course.
Oh, that's nice.
So a little background on Derk and I. We met in Beijing in 2018, and then after he left Beijing 3 months later, we decided to keep seeing each other long distance, and I would travel from China to Germany every few months to see him. During the times I was in Germany, we would often travel around Europe together: Greece, Spain, Italy, France, Slovenia, Croatia, Switzerland. Oh, I miss travel. But the nature of a long distance relationship is that it's such a bright spark when you're together, but you always have to say goodbye at some point, and that is the hardest part.
Flashback to March 2020, I was in Germany with you, COVID had started, and basically Australian government said every single Australian citizen needs to come back to Australia right now, which I remember was just like the weirdest feeling in the world. Like it felt like the end of the world. And yeah, it was so scary because I really didn't know when I'd see you again.
Somewhere in my back in my head, I was like, oh, maybe it's just a couple of months and then we can see each other again. But here we are with what, 500 and something days.
574 days apart.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we actually see each other, it will be probably over 2 years apart, because you were supposed to be here in June. That was the original plan. We were supposed to meet in China, reunite, but you know, it didn't quite exactly go to plan.
First I was supposed to go in June, then in September. Now I'm still here. And yeah, like the plan for now is that I come beginning of next year. And so yeah, by then we will have definitely our 2 years.
Do you realize that now we've been apart longer than we were ever together?
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to make this video with you because I don't think in my life again I will be in a relationship where I haven't seen the person for over 570 days. So I thought may as well make the most of this this content opportunity on our hands right now. And I have a lot of friends that have been sending me questions about long distance relationships and, you know, our thoughts on it, our experiences. So how do you feel about answering some questions about a long distance relationship?
Yeah, let's get those questions answered.
Some questions were repeated a lot. So I'm just gonna, you know, these are gonna be some of the most asked questions. So
yeah,
the third most asked question was, do our daily conversations become boring or repetitive or feel like we have nothing to talk about when we're in a long distance relationship? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I would say yes and no. Yes, there are times where you pretty much talk about, you know, what have you been up to?
Yeah.
What's your plan for the weekend? But there are also other days where you, you know, discuss things or, you know, tell the other person a story, something random that happens to you. So it's, yeah, it's a bit of a mix of both. You know, there are those days, better days and not so good days, I would say.
I agree with that. I think when you're in a long distance relationship, you don't have that physical togetherness that you can depend upon. Like when you're on the phone, you can't just like stop talking because that's kind of awkward. Yeah, I think being in a long distance relationship has forced us to be more communicative, and because that's the only way we can really be together, which is through a screen. And if we don't talk, we don't really have anything. So I think definitely, yeah, as you said, there are good days and bad days. And yeah, on our good days, I feel like it does bring us closer.
As you said, like you can't make up for those times where you just, you know, physically lie next to each other on the couch and you don't pretty much say anything. You just watch TV or whatever. Yeah. Like you can't, let's say, simulate that through the screen.
Yeah. Talking of that physical closeness, that was one of the other most asked questions. Sex. How do we get around that topic? Because 570 something days is a long time to be apart from your partner. For me, I'm okay. I've just kind of gotten used to the situation. Like for me, sex is not a concept that exists in my life anymore. But I know that for guys, it can be a bit more of an issue. Thank you very much for waiting for me this long. I really appreciate it. But how has it been for you having really no intimacy for the last year and a half?
Yeah, of course. It's for me, it was more difficult, and I still have those days, where you feel sexual. That's for sure. It's not something that I can remove from my concept.
Yeah.
It has shifted a bit, I have to say, like from this physical connection to a mental connection. And
love that.
Like for me, that helps a lot, getting, nice messages from you, being like, I'm thinking of you or whatever. That helps to also deal with those kind of situations where you feel a little bit, horny here and there.
Noted.
Yeah.
I'll send you more cute messages.
Plus images, plus pictures. No.
I feel like when we finally see each other, it's going to be very awkward because both of us have forgotten how to kiss, how to do it.
Need some practice and readjustment, I guess. We in Germany, we always say that, well, I'm not sure if I should say that your dinner tastes always better if you have been working hard like throughout the day, like the food will always taste better. So it's a bit of a you know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean. I like the analogy. But I wanted to get into the most asked question actually. And I was a little bit surprised because I kind of expected the sex topic to be the most asked question. But the most asked question actually ended up being trust. So I feel like it's a big topic for people when it comes to long distance relationships, not being able to trust their partner, because I guess we're on the other sides of the world basically. And, you're a very good looking guy. And, you've been off to Ibiza partying, a couple of times since we've been apart. Like there is people have asked, what happens if you meet someone better? Do you have that fear when it comes to me? Like, do you worry that I'll meet someone better?
Yeah.
Or what are your worries in that situation?
Of course. I have the same.
Really?
I mean, I can, thanks for the compliment, but I can say the same. You're also very, very beautiful, very attractive girl.
Thank you.
And so I have the same, like, I don't know, when you go out or when you walk down the streets, like, sometimes in my head, I'm like, we have been apart for so many days, that what if there's somebody, who approaches you, and at the end of the day, it always comes down to how you react. But yeah, of course, there are those days where I think about it, and
that's sweet. I'm glad that you think about it. Like, it's good to know that you find me as, desirable as I find you.
Of course.
And I think that's where the trust comes in. I can worry that someone will come up to you and worry that when you're partying in Ibiza, that some hot babe in a bikini is gonna, come up and try and catch your eye. But I guess at the end of the day, I know that that's not something that you would act upon. And I feel like we're very much on the same page. And I feel like I really trust you. And it's never been something that I've actually worried about happening. Yeah.
You will always meet new people, but at the end of the day, at some point, you just need to make a decision. And when you make the decision, you just stick to it. And yeah, I mean,
I don't know whether that's romantic or not. Like, are you just sticking with me because you've decided? It's good to know that you're not going to stray, but like, am I the right decision for you? How do you know?
I sometimes I struggle to describe it, but I just think that you are my perfect fit, and that we and that we get along, very well.
There was a couple of other questions that I also wanted to ask. So, in your opinion, what is the best and worst thing about long distance relationships?
Oh.
I can go first if you want. I've thought about it.
This time. Yeah.
I think the best thing about a long distance relationship is it makes you realize very quickly whether or not you and that person have a future, because in many different ways, because if we weren't really serious about each other, if we weren't committed to each other, we wouldn't have lasted more than a few months of long distance relationship. We would have gone our separate ways. But the fact that we're still together, I think proves that, you know, we are, you know, we want to be with each other, which I think is really good. And also it makes us realize whether we have what it takes to communicate on an emotional level. Because if we also didn't have that, we wouldn't have lasted as long as we have either. So I think a long distance relationship puts into perspective whether it's going to work or not. The worst thing about a long distance relationship is, I think, to be honest, just that feeling that we're leading two different lives, and that's really hard to deal with, because I feel like I'm not a part of that life, and I feel sometimes you're not a part of my life. So I think at this stage, I'm just really excited for you to be here and we can reconnect and, you know, be together in one sphere again. But I think the hardest part is feeling like you're living a completely different life and I'm not a part of that.
I'm also looking very much forward to being in China as soon as possible.
Another question is, do we have any tips for other people that are considering doing long distance relationships, or other people that are in long distance relationships? Like, I'm sure we're not the only people that have been pushed apart because of COVID. There must be a lot of people out there as well. So what are some of the things that you've learned, or some of the things that you would share?
Make sure you get your girlfriend gifts, you know, at special occasions. My first tip would be communication. If you have a bad day and, you know, you don't really feel like talking, still, like, you know, get on the phone or you know, FaceTime your partner and, you know, just talk about it, and maybe he or she can help you. Yeah.
Do you think we will do long distance again? Like,
no.
Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this video with me. Yeah, I'm counting down the days, the last 180 days until we're together.
Yeah, same here. But I think we have gone through the majority of days, so I think the last mile we can also do.
I'll see you very soon. We'll keep chatting.
But thanks guys for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.